It's episode 26 of Green Legion Radio's Ice to Shorts Winter Sports, brought to you by Bud Light. This is Diaz. I'm with my man, Sackmaster Reggie Hoo-Ha-Ha. Chris Sack, how you doing?
Doing fantastic, man. It's another beautiful, beautiful day in the spring here. Phillies are 5-1. The Flyers, you can just toss more dirt on them. But yeah, man, it's great to see the weather improving, man. It kind of just jolts you with a little bit of extra life. So,
you missed the first place 76ers who's just swept the season series with the Celtics, but
I was letting you cover them, man.
Well, we'll get to all that. We just wanted to say hello to everybody that's watching on Facebook Live and our YouTube channel, Twitter. We're going to be moving everything over to YouTube. It just is a better platform for our followers and people that are watching us. So head over to YouTube and give us a subscribe and like and comment and all that good stuff. Hello to everyone that's watching on Facebook. Especially, I'd like to say hi to Steven Schweikert, who gave us a Facebook sad emoji that we were coming on today. Maybe he's sad about the Flyers. I don't know if you're going to be giving your Flyers eulogy for the season today, or we're going to wait till the trade deadline, but we'll get all to that in a little bit here. So we're going to hit the Phillies, the Sixers, and the Flyers today. We're not going to be real long, but we haven't talked together for 3 weeks because the big boss man just keeps inserting himself into our plans. But real quick, we just want to thank Mike Dorenzi and the fine folks at Bud Light and Penn Distributors for sponsoring the show and all of the shows of Green Legion Radio. We'd like to thank all of the fans, followers, members of Diaz Nation, Sackmaster Nation. We're doing real well in this. Sackmaster Inc. Excuse me. I'm sorry. Yeah, you're not much of a nation. You're a corporation, more so than anything. I don't know if it's a C Corp, S Corp, whatever we got. But I wanted to say thanks to all of our followers and travelers and tailgaters and friends of the program and everything that are voting for us on this Crossing Broad Eagles Media.
How are we looking right
challenge.
now?
I haven't checked it since lunch today. We were just above, but we're going against Derek Gunn here in the Sweet 16. That's tough. I love Derek Gunn. He is the man. I can't believe NBC Sports Philly let him go among some other friends of the program. But we got a lot of people that like traveling with us. They like this show. They like your new baseball brunch show, Green Legion Radio. Get tanked, all of that. So we appreciate the votes and keep voting. It's highly scientific. Whenever I post, I say it's highly scientific, highly authoritative. I know that it's all in fun and it's not a big deal, but still, hey, I'm getting a lot of messages like, wait a minute, these are the guys that travel. I didn't know they had a show. That's great. Now you do. Listen, every Thursday night is Saturday on Fox Sports The Gambler. So it's good stuff. So, Zach, what I want to start out with is Baseball Brunch, episode 2 was this past Sunday. You guys, man, I don't know if you guys are going to some like community theater and practicing on stage beforehand or something like that, but it sounds like you guys have been doing this for a long time. You and Murph, we all say we know Murph because we've been listening and watching him on the Phillies broadcast forever. And but what's the secret here? You guys meeting in private or something like that?
No, listen, man. Murph is extremely professional. He is just a great guy, a great person to work with. We just have this understanding. Like he's got other things going on, and so do I. And I got my career going on, outside of the radio biz, but I keep tabs on things throughout the week. I write things down, I screenshot things, and then I just write them all down in a notebook. Saturday mornings, I've been putting together the run sheet, and I shoot it over to him via email. He normally gets to it by Saturday afternoon, Saturday night. And then, we get together right before the show, about an hour before, and we go over it. All right, we're going to hit on this. Man, it's just that hour flies by so fast, and it's such an adrenaline rush. And it's funny because I'm doing Green Legion Radio with you guys, and we do Ice to Shorts, and I get all this airtime all the time with you guys. But there's a bigger difference when you're the one that's driving the car.
Right.
You know, and I didn't know I was going to be the one that was driving the car per se, because, you know, listen, Murph has been a Phillies field reporter and a broadcaster for close to a decade. He's done Philly Sports Talk, Daily News Live, you know, CNN8. He's done, you know, numerous amount of shows for Comcast Sportsnet when it was, and Philadelphia. You know now with what they've got going on, it's really cool, man. I just really appreciate the opportunity that I've been given with this. It's just I know a lot of people have been really positive about the show. I'm my own worst critic. You know, I felt like I was a little too hyped, like the first segment of the first show. You know, but then I went back and I listened to the first two segments, and I was like, okay, cool. Like, you know, all right, these are things that I can improve on, and I'm always going to be my own worst critic. And you know, I really enjoy it, man. It's a lot of fun on Sundays. I hope soon you get your spinoff show too, and you know, I look forward to that when it does happen. But this right here is just surreal.
It's right in your wheelhouse. You were originally brought on to the team as our Phillies correspondent that Quimby likes to say. I say apologist. We got a message over here from our good friend Hollis Tank Thomas down there in Costa Rica. He's probably having a good time with Lido, thinking of all the nice things he'd like to say to us, specifically me, on the show. But what's up, Hollis? Hope you guys are doing well down there. Take care of yourself. Be safe. But with Phillies baseball brunch brought to you by Bud Light on Sundays.
Bud Light.
Yeah.
No, it's Bud Light.
Oh, it's Bud Light baseball brunch. Okay,
yes.
I'm working through the language
radio
on Fox Sports The Gambler. I'm working through it too. But man, we talked about the Phillies on this show and we talk about on the big show, but I was like, man, I don't really feel anything for these guys. They're just not a lot of homegrown stuff. It's not like the last round when they were, you know, the glory days, so to speak, of 10 years ago. When most of the key parts, yes, we added Cliff Lee and Oswald and, of course, Holiday, Ibanez and stuff like that, guys that I did like, but most of them were homegrown, and this is just not that. But we got a Bomer today, which was nice versus the Mets. We're recording this Wednesday, 8 o'clock, April 7th. So the Phillies just took two of three of the Mets. The sweep would have been nice, man. It would have been nice, but...
you can thank Vinny Velo for that one.
Yeah. I mean, Vinny does what Vinny does. It's what you're going to expect from it. It stinks because he's got like the talent. We'll get into Ben Simmons in a little bit here, but it's almost like they're like got this mind block that you just want to reach through and be like, come on, man, you got all the skill. You got. It's frustrating.
You know, the team has started out 5-1. They won back-to-back series. Now they're going to have to go on the road. They had the Braves for 3 in Atlanta, looking for revenge. They just won both games in a doubleheader today, their first 2 wins of the season against the Nationals. And then we have to go to New York next week and try and take, you know, a few games from them or a couple games out of that 3 from them before we come back home. This, like I said before, man, this is a tough division. It's going to be a tough season. It's going to be a fun season. I already have a few things cooking up for this upcoming Sunday. Nice. I know a lot of people have been waiting for me to explode for the first time in front of Murph on a show. And there's a couple things that are getting me there right now.
Don't get fired. Don't get fired.
No. It's okay. I can blow up, but rein it in. Vince Velasquez is you know, his performance yesterday. You know, it leaves a lot to be desired for me. And then I sent you guys a screenshot of a quote from a former Phillies manager, Gabe Kapler, about winning time of possession. And I think that's what's going to push me over the edge this week. Come on down. Make sure you guys come out this week. I understand this past Sunday was Easter Sunday, but this Sunday, make sure you come on down. Sports and Social. It is the home of the region's first FanDuel sportsbook. You can come on down to Sports and Social at the new Philly Live Casino and visit us, get pictures and autographs from Murph. You know, if you want to say hi to me, you want to talk some baseball, we're there from 11 to noon, and I'll be hanging out a little bit afterwards as well. We should have a great crowd out, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So make sure you guys come on down and check out Bud Light Baseball Brunch.
I think that's a great way. You take those Sunday matinee games, start at 1 o'clock or 1:35 or whatever they do. I mean, that's perfect right there. You could come in a little early, have a couple beers maybe in the parking lot if you want, if you get there early enough, but roll in there. Say hi to the guys.
Man, grab a bite to eat, a couple beers, place a wager, and then you're steps away from the ballpark. We had a little bit of fun. We had a couple Braves fans that were sitting in the booth right in front of us, right where we're at. We're right in front of all the big TVs right there in Sports and Social. So come on down. We love the banter. We love being able to talk with you guys. The connection, and I'm looking to purchase a couple tickets for an upcoming game so we can raffle those off again this weekend with another great trivia question by yours truly.
I'm thinking of this on the fly. You might have already got it covered. Why not have tickets where to a Sunday game where they can pick them up over at Sport and Social at the new Philly Live Casino, and they come on and ask you a question or ask Greg a question. I mean, Murph is the man, but that might be an idea. Here's another idea here. Murph, he is too nice. I was texting privately with Quimby earlier in the week or last week or something like, this guy, the personality you see on TV, that's the guy. Unless he's got this big, he could be a secret serial killer. I don't know, but he is the nicest guy. We're like, I don't know. Like, I hope he sticks around with us because all we do is just chirp at each other all day. So he's this nice guy. He's got great insight on the Phillies, and you do too, and baseball in general. Are you willing to accept the role of villain on this new pair? Who else is going to do it?
I know. I've already said this, and me and Murph have even discussed this. Because there's a certain, like, he can be critical, but he can be critical to a point. I can be critical and really go off the rails if I want to. And, I've reined it in the first couple shows, but nothing really has lit my fire and pissed me off yet. So eventually something's going to spark my ire. There's a couple things already this week that is, stoking the fire. And I know eventually I'm going to go off. It's just a matter of when. And it might be this Sunday. It might be. Now, if the Phillies are, going in at 7-1 and have a shot at sweeping the Braves on Sunday, well, hey, guess what? You might get good old jovial Sackmaster once again. But, my focus right now is to give the best broadcast that we can possibly give and, making sure that our content is top notch. I said it a few weeks ago. I think it was on our last show, Diaz. I want this to be the best Phillies podcast, Phillies show in the city. I want people tuning into us. I don't want them going anywhere else. You're going to get the Phillies. You're going to get the rest of Major League Baseball. If you listen to us on Sundays, it is an absolute joy and privilege to have the connection right now that we do. And it's just getting started. So imagine what we can do, for the next 5.5 months. It's really going to be, it's going to be a special connection that we have this summer. And as long as the team is doing well, man, people are going to they're going to clamor. They're going to want more and more baseball talk. And you can't get anything better than what we do on Bud Light Baseball Brunch.
It's awesome. I actually have a couple things. We're going to talk about Sixers and the Flyers. You tell me when you want to have the eulogy, and we'll promote that show as.
We'll do that we'll do that after the Sixers talk.
Okay.
Right?
Okay. After, yeah. Well, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if we're ready to call them dead. They're not really technically dead yet.
No, but I'll explain. I'll explain why we're close to being dead.
So, well, let's back to baseball here. I've tuned in for every Phillies game so far, the 6 games they've had. I even got a couple innings today at work. You don't pay attention. I wasn't paying attention. I didn't realize. I knew that the game was during the afternoon, but just forgot until it was like the 6th inning and put it on my phone. YouTube TV is great for that, by the way. You can stream wherever. But baseball here, and we got our good baseball knowledge guy Rob Valivas from the Rob V Show checking in here.
Hey man, he runs the Norgwin Packers.
Oh, I know. He knows baseball more than anybody. But a couple things, man. You and I texted you yesterday about this. 2 things. The first thing here is the statistic that they threw up. It was the ESPN broadcast. Well, I'm going to say 3 things, and the last one is going to be for sports in general. But this statistic here. It blew my mind. The highest batting average since 2018. So basically 2+ seasons. 2018-19, 60 games of 2020, and 5 games of here. Howie Kendrick leads the major league. Isn't Howie Kendrick first off like 40 years old?
He's also retired.
Okay. And he's okay. So did he only play 1 year?
He's retired now. No, 2018, 2019, he was a big reason why the Nationals won the World Series against the Astros. Remember, he hit the go-ahead home run late in that Game 7 against the Astros. He played a big role, and then he came back last year, and then he retired. So, yeah, Howie Kendrick's no longer active.
Howie Kendrick, the highest batting average in all baseball at 322. The fifth highest, Michael Brantley at 311. Listen, we complain about the rule changes in the NFL and the rule changes in the NHL and basketball and the NBA. That they just want to increase scoring. This is, now I don't know if runs are down necessarily, but hits are down. It's either home run, strikeout, walk. They got to do something. I think here, and Rob V is going to blow his mind here because I don't know what I'm talking about. I say you got to move the pitcher's mound. Just make it 61 feet. It's 60 feet 6 inches right now. Push it back 6 inches. It's going to give just an extra little glimmer of. It's going to increase offense some ways, but man, dude, that's when I grew up back in my day, dudes were hitting like. The league leader, like Tony Gwynn, was 360. Don Mattingly's hitting 340. It's that was a shocking number to me. What can we do to increase offense here? And juicing the ball or deading the ball, juicing the ball.
No. I like the fact that Theo Epstein is right now he's an assistant to the commissioner, and they're trying to find ways to improve and to improve the game, speed up the game. Now, I'm not a clock guy. I'm not about that's what makes baseball special. Is there's no clock on the game. And if you're a baseball purist, it's one of the things, man. It's like, you have 27 outs to get the job done. If you need to go into extra innings, you have to go into extra innings. It's just how it goes. But putting a clock to the game is not something that I'm all about. But one of the things, I know we've talked about this extent and ad nauseum, Diaz, on Green Legion Radio, is the shift. I would love to get rid of the shift. And everybody goes, well, why don't you just, Ryan Howard, why don't you just bump one up the third baseline? If you are the other team, would you rather have Ryan Howard bunt the ball up the third baseline, or would you rather have him, swing for the fences and hit a home run? I would take him bunting every single damn time of the week. So, I would love to take the shift away. You don't have to entirely take it away, but I don't know what they're going to do about that. You got to make rules. It's kind of like the NBA. They've made rules to try and improve offense. Right. But we also need to get back to putting the ball in play. Stop this launch angle crap, this exit velocity crap. I understand with the walks and everything, like on base percentage, it's great. It's fantastic. But I want to bring back some of the excitement of the games. Doubles, triples, stolen bases. Some of these things that really liven up a crowd. Like they always used to say it was, okay, a walk, a bloop, a blast, 3-run shot. Sometimes home runs are rally killers. I enjoy, gap to gap power. I enjoy down the lines, a good stolen base. I want to get back to that style of baseball. The way that they're going right now is taking the fans, casual fans, and pushing them towards other sports. And we need to find a way to make people watch baseball, make people want to watch baseball. And what they've done with the game over the years, as far as trying to make the changes, it's only made it worse. It's made the games longer now. So there's got to be a better way of getting more offense in the game, but also at the same time, keeping it realistic to where the pitchers can still do their jobs.
I think the thing with, you just said this, and Rob V and traditionalists or the non-analytics and launch angle is just, they just pay attention when it
I see the bunts. That's what the game needs. We need more bunts.
More bunts, right? Yeah. The launch.
Not everybody can bunt. Ryan Howard couldn't bunt.
All these things in all these sports, like the analytics aren't 100% right, and even Sam Hinkie, he's not going to go 100% on analytics. But what analytics do is just show you trends and show you what's the most efficient, productive way of doing things, like what Houston did with Harden the last few years. Now, it crumbled in the playoffs, but Houston's winning 60 games a year in the regular season. They're a machine. Then you get to the playoffs, you get in the second round, there's only 8 teams left. And you're playing the best of the best in a 7-game series, it's not going to work as effectively. But launch angle and exit velocity and spin rate and all that stuff, they're just ways of measuring the game. It's nothing scary. It's just saying, guess what? I bet Cliff Lee's spin rate was better than Vinny Velasquez's spin rate. It means it's just a different way of measuring it. When people complain about these things, listen, you might not appreciate it or like it. I had some friends when the Sixers were going through the process and draft picks and players were considered assets. So like, assets. It's like, that's what they say. That's what they're called now. There was some old curmudgeon Rob V type guy back in 1909 when they were like, it was hard to measure pitchers because this pitcher gave up 1 run and this pitcher gave up 1 run. Now, this pitcher gave up 1 run in 8 innings, and this pitcher gave up 1 run in 9 innings. So they're like, how do we compare these different pitching performances? So they came up with ERA. It's a stat. It used to not exist. Now it does exist. And now we use ERA. We don't talk about like ERA or WHIP, right? Like we understand what that is. It's not a weird thing. This fear of analytics taking over. We do it in blackjack. We do it all the time in sports. Now it can ruin the watching and the fun of it. You know, watching James Harden shoot threes, go to the foul line all game is not fun. No one likes to watch that. I understand it's not fun, but it's effective. They win games. You know, so this launch angle, they're just saying. This exit velocity, if you go, I'm making this up because I don't dive deep in it, but exit velocity, 160 miles an hour out at a 40-degree angle, that is the sweet spot. That's what we're looking to get. So they try and tailor their swings to do that. Now, I guess it kills the bunts and it kills the slap hits, you know, down the line and all that stuff. But it's like, well, that's how you score more runs and that's how you win games by scoring more runs. So that's what they focus on, to the detriment of all the other fun things in the sport. But, you know, to be afraid, like analytics, they're taking what's happened already and just measuring it in a way that we haven't measured it before. It's nothing scary, you know what I mean?
No, it's not anything about being scary. It's the fact that guys that should not be worrying about exit velocity and launch angle are, because the guys that truly get paid in baseball are the ones that hit home runs and have runs batted in, right? I mean, like that right there. So you have guys that are trying to play out of their skin, which is affecting the rest of the game. Like, not everybody can do what Mike Trout does. Not everybody can do what Bryce Harper does. Not everybody can do what Jose Abreu does. Like, you have to try and stay within your means. And when people are sitting there going, oh, well, you know, my exit velocity and my launch angle is this. Well, I don't see it in the production on the stat sheet. Like, that stuff doesn't pop up. So, you know, I understand your point of it. It's there to be beneficial, but I think sometimes, and remember, like the hitting coach a couple years ago, John Malley for the Phillies, he completely destroyed Rhys Hoskins that season, and because he was trying to get him to uppercut his swing and he tried to change his swing earlier in the year, and then Scott Kingery, he might have destroyed his career with that bull crap. So. Like, I get it. It's there. It's numbers. It's statistics. It's supposed to be beneficial to a player, but give it to the player and allow him to say, I'm going to do something with this. Like, you know, when Kapler the one year, oh, well, we're going to break out the curveball machine, and he wants everybody to do it. And Bryce Harper goes, I'm not using a curveball machine. It's just like analytics. If I don't want to use it, I'm not going to use it. I know what got me here. I know what's, you know, made me succeed here. I'm going to stay with that. So it's the same thing. Like, you know, just don't shove the numbers down these guys' throats. Say, hey, guys, listen, here's the numbers right here. Here are the analytics. I'm going to throw it on the table for you. If you want to take a look at it to try and help yourself out, knock yourself out. But don't try and just hammer it into these guys' heads, man. They got here for a reason.
Well,
leave them alone.
Listen, that's a completely separate point. But you just crumpled up the analytics, the launch angle, and threw it away. That's the mistake. You need to understand where it comes from and whether you use it. And sometimes, you know what? Sometimes you got to go with the gut. They probably should have kept Snell. The Rays should have kept Snell in that game last year in the World Series. They used the numbers, which had worked like the previous 2 series for them. The same thing worked. So they were just doing what worked with them before, and it probably wasn't the best decision. You could second guess it 1 second. But here's, here's the one thing: we don't second guess. This is something where analytics come in that we don't even realize it's analytics. It's analytics from 1960 that we don't think about now. We've got a hitter. I don't care who it is. Bryce Harper hits 280 versus right-handers, and he hits 220 versus left-handers. So we're always going to have to face a left-hander. What they're saying is, in 100 at-bats, he hits 6 more hits versus the right-hander than the left-hander. 100 at-bats. That is, he's having 1 at-bat right now. If he had 100 of them, he'll have 6 more. That's not a lot. But that tiny little percentage is so important, analytics, that we do this righty lefty thing, and it speeds the game up. I mean, excuse me, it slows the game down because we have a righty up. Well, it's the 7th inning. We got to bring in a righty, and then the lefty comes up, and they're going to pinch hit him, and we keep, and it's like the differences in bad. Now, if there was a guy, if Bryce Harper hit 550 versus right-handers and 150 versus left-handers, makes a big difference. That's 40 hit. That's a huge percentage. But this, like, the minute, versus righties, he hits 290, and versus lefties, he hits 272. You're like, 18 hits in 1,000 at-bats. 18 hits in 1,000 at-bats. We've got to slow the game down, because that's the second thing here. These games, yesterday, the game started at, 7 o'clock on ESPN. ESPN makes them longer because the ads, I realize that.
Almost done by 11.
Yeah, exactly. Right. And so the Sixers started at 7:30. I watched it on the fancy DVR machine here so I could speed through commercials. Sixers game's over, feel good. Flip over to the Phillies. It's the top of the 8th. I was watching the Phillies before the game. I watched the first inning and a half or something. Then switch over to Sixers game. Fast forward through that, watch commercials and halftime and stuff. And then the Phillies are still on. Like, I hear you. Like, it doesn't have a game clock. What makes it beautiful. It's not a rush. I understand it, but 3.5 hour games, 5 times a week. Every game goes 3 hours and 20 minutes. It's just way too long. It's just too long. Like, kids today, they love playing baseball, man, but they're not going to hang around. They're not going to hang around. Going to the game is fine because you're sitting there BSing, having a good time, drinking your beers, eating the peanuts and pretzels and stuff like that. But man, they got it. I don't know what the answer is. I'm not in charge. I don't want a clock. I don't want a pitch clock. But it's like, hey, Bryce Harper, you just fixed your batting gloves and your cup and your helmet and spit and looked and gripped and fixed it again and fixed your armbands. You step in, you take a pitch, it's a ball. Then you got to cut. I mean, and I'm picking on Bryce Harper just because he's Phillies. But it's like, you don't need to fix. You don't need to fix, and you can't have like a rule where it says you cannot adjust your personal gear after every at bat. That's stupid too. But it's like, guys, come on, man. And then the pitcher needs to tug his hat twice and look in and step and look and step, and it's just, God, man. It's like, hey, listen, I know there's a reason that baseball is like their average fan is age 56 years old, white guy. Like, it's just, this like, I'm glad you're not in charge. We're changing it. It's like, it's going to go away. More kids are playing lacrosse now than they were 20 years ago. Baseball is taking way too long. But anyway, we're not even a baseball podcast. You do this already.
I do this already, so just make sure you guys. I was just about to kick it over real quick. I wanted to point out Rob Valivas. I didn't know Quimby ran Rob Valivas's, Facebook page here. No one sees Mike Trout play because he plays in a small market. He doesn't like the spotlight. That is so Quimby. That's so
small market, Orange County, California. Small market.
He does
right?
play. He does play for the. He doesn't play for the Dodgers in Los Angeles. He played for the Angels. But I mean, money talks and BS walks, man. $450 million. Someone just hands me a contract when I have a year left, to play. No, I think he had 2 years left to play on his contract. Yeah, I probably would have signed it to the team that actually drafted me. So. But I always love that narrative though. It's hilarious. Yeah. I'm sure it's true, Rob. I'm sure it's true. It's true. It's damn true, is what Kurt Angle would say.
Let's talk a little bit 76ers and then we'll hit the Flyers and get out of here. So last night, I'll tell you, I wasn't down. on Sunday, the game versus Memphis back to back, and came back. It was just like the just God. Terrible. The effort.
Happy Easter on that one.
Yeah, that it just I turned it off at the beginning of the fourth quarter. Dejected, embarrassed. It's like that game, and it was Memphis on it's a meaningless game, but just the performance of the entire team. It felt like the Eagles losing their opening night game. I just wanted to get away from it. So going into Tuesday night at the Celtics, the last game versus Boston, I tell you, I was a little worried. Going in, the line was Sixers by 1. I'm like, oh man, why? I know Boston hasn't had a good year. They're real thin. They're like top heavy. They have 2 All-Stars, and Kemba, who's the ghost of Kemba.
All-Stars.
But yeah. Hey, listen. Okay, this is Sack right here. He's like, All-Stars.
Are they Hall of Famers too?
Not yet. No,
I'm just asking. I mean,
listen. You're used to. I don't know how many All-Stars are there in hockey. 24. I don't know. I'm asking.
The way they changed everything to the 3-on-3 tournament, which is pathetic in the NHL. You really only get 1 or 2 representatives from your team.
Okay, so in basketball, there's 12 per conference. So to get 2, so when I say all-star, not every team gets one. 3 teams definitely don't get one. If the Sixers have 2, and Milwaukee has 2, and Boston has 2, that's 6 of the 12, and there's 12 other teams that
I get you. I'm just saying.
So I'm just saying, listen, it's not every team. Drew Holiday on the Bucks didn't make the All-Star team. He's a really good player. He's a good piece for them. He probably got oversigned now. Maybe his contract might be a little bit worse.
I'm just saying the All-Star thing is so overrated. Great, you got rewarded for a half a season of success. Okay, the only sport where it actually kind of matters is football. Hold on. No, the game itself sucks, but you are dubbed a Pro Bowler for a full season's worth of work.
It's more like 3 quarters. They always know it by the end of the
week
season.
14, week 15. Yeah. But you're rewarded for practically the full season worth of work. Now, if Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, if they're second team NBA, third team NBA, that means more than being an all-star, in my opinion.
Oh no, you're 100% because
that's where
first team, second team, third team, all NBA. There's only 15 guys out of 30 teams.
We've had this out before.
No, but we got to straighten it out. We got to straighten it out. Listen,
the all-star thing, it just doesn't work.
Now, if you say Drew Holiday is a former all-star, he had 1 all-star when he was 20 years old with the Sixers in 2012, 2013, and he hasn't made one since. Okay, so so it's all-star. But when you have guys that are pencil Joel Embiid, unless he's out for the year, he's starting in the All-Star game for the foreseeable future.
And LeBron
and LeBron, right? So what happens is in a game where 1 player, 2 players, 3 players can really change the fortunes of the team. Having being a perennial all-star, not a guy like Zach LaVine. Zach LaVine, first off, great player, first-time all-star. Now,
good player.
People will say forever, all-star, all-star basketball star, all-star Zach LaVine. But what we're talking about is guys that are consistently on the team, no-brainer. Ben Simmons, not a no-brainer all the time. He is an all-star. He's been an all-star the last 3 years.
That. Thank you.
He's been an all-star the last 3 years. So.
And then he stops playing after he makes the team.
I listen. We'll talk about him, but to say I care about. No, I care about. Everyone wants to win the championship, but when you win the championship, you generally have all-star players on it. There was Detroit Pistons 2004 is the only team in the last 40 years to win a championship without an all-star, and most of them have at least 2. Most of them at least 2, probably 3. If you're LeBron and AD. So it's to say I don't care about no, I don't care about the All-Star game. I don't care that these guys get honored. What I care about is that shows that they're out of 15 teams, 15 players on the team. What's 15 times 15? 165 players. Is that right? Is that math right? I don't know. No.
You got a calculator. It's on your phone.
Well, 15, but yeah, it's 165 players, 12. They're the 12 top ones. Now there's injury replacements and all that crap too. So, but anyway, it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean that they get a banner for it or a trophy or a medal that we can brag about.
15 times 15 is 225.
225. Okay, I'm sorry. Even better. They take 12 guys. 12 out of 225.
I'm like, no, 15 times 11 is 165.
There you go. I'm supposed to be in finance here. It's probably the Woodford, I'll say here. But okay, so we get the Celtics last night. Little nervous going in, and man, Embiid is definitely doesn't have his legs back yet. He was doing basketball activities, whatever that means, as he was warming back up.
Does he look like he's in shape?
Well, that's hard to say. I mean, you sit 3 weeks. You're not going to be in bad any player, any player, and this is I'm not making excuses for Joel.
I'm not saying you are. I'm just I'm asking you what you saw from him on Saturday and what you saw last night. Like you say that he doesn't have his legs under him. Like, but does he look like he threw 15 pounds of weight on?
No. He
like
looks the same.
Because you know how Joel in the past when Joel got hurt. And he would let himself go while he was out. It was back to cheeseburgers and Chick-fil-A. And I'm not making that up. You know, just like I was, he was eating cheeseburgers before games the last few years. And, that's just who he is, which is fine. But I'm just asking from your perspective, from what you've seen out of him, does he still look like he's in fantastic shape like he was prior to the injury?
Yeah, he looks, and I hear what you're saying. I know you're exaggerating a little bit.
I'm not making fun of Embiid for once.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't really look that different. It's just what's he doing in the fourth quarter? Everyone grabs their shorts and pulls over and catches their breath, but is he like slogging through it? He's still hitting the most ineffective shot in the game, the mid range, and he's still draining those, without touching the rim. He's still a defensive force. But if we're talking about, let's see how he's going to be in the playoffs, it's not there yet. That's okay. It's not to be expected. He's got time to work it up, but going to the foul line 20 times. I mean, I love it. I want him to live at the foul line. I think he had 35 points on 16 shots last night or something like that. That's awesome. You get the other team in foul trouble. It's what gets me with Ben Simmons. I don't mind the no 3-point shooting. I mind the free throw shooting 50%, but he's got to go to the line 8 to 10 times a game. He's just so much bigger, faster, stronger than these other dudes. For him to be driving up and then getting passive around the rim, it's disappointing. What do you got?
Before we jump into Ben Simmons, just one more quick thing on Embiid. Do you see Embiid playing any back-to-backs the rest of the season?
Absolutely not. No way.
No?
And that would be malpractice. I got the remaining schedule here. There is a few more.
Because they're tied right now with the Nets, right? As of right now, they're tied with the Nets for the first seed. And we've both talked about this, on previous episodes. I need the top seed. Like I want the easiest road possible. Because right now, who's sitting in that 8th seed?
It might be the Knicks. Let me see here.
But there's a play-in tournament for that, right? So
that's kind of cool. No, actually, it's Boston right now.
Boston. Okay, so we already dominate them, and even they said after last night they don't have anything that could stop Embiid, or their broadcaster said that, right? They don't have anybody that can stop Embiid. So, all right, cool. Let's go ahead, get through that round. In round 2, it won't even matter. Because you're going to let the Bucks and the Nets kill each other in the 2-3 matchup. That's like we've been saying all along, and Hollis rides you more than I do about this. You want to get past the second round. If you get past the second round and you make it as easy as possible, you do it in 5. You let Embiid rest for a week while hopefully the Nets and the Bucks go to 7. And then you get a tired team because normally the conference finals starts, 2 days after that one series ends. So man, if you can get a tired team, you can pretty much take it to the bank at Wells Fargo Center. You're going to start that series up 1-0. Like that's a beautiful thing. Like in the conference finals, that's what I want.
You make 100% sense, and I agree. And it's definitely it's not.
It's there. Come on,
It's
Diaz, grab the ring, man. Grab the ring.
But the issue is he is coming back from injury. They have a back to back coming up right now. What would be
I'm not
great?
saying this one here, Diaz. I'm saying like
let me talk about.
ahead.
Well, let's look at the schedule here. It gets a little easier in May. There is only two back-to-backs, and the last one is, literally the last series of the game. But what we got here, I mean, this is a. I thought the last 2 weeks, especially without Embiid, they went 7-3 in those 10 games. Awesome. I'll take that any day. Here we go. Here we are recording Wednesday, the 7th of April. Friday night at New Orleans, then at Oklahoma City the next day. Oklahoma City is not a good team right now. You're on the road. If Embiid doesn't play, it improves the likelihood of there being a loss there. What would be nice, and New Orleans, they have some players on that team. They're not that great this year, but they do have Zion. If you could do what they did some of these previous games and take care of these teams, be up by 28, and just get Embiid to play 26 minutes, where at least the next night he might not be ruled out, so at least they have to game plan him, and then maybe he can contribute 20 minutes. I don't know, but Embiid being healthy. This is when Kyle the Gobbler, the Troll Gobbler Troll was saying, we got to be concerned with, like, when Embiid's not on the court in the playoffs, that might be 8 to 10 minutes a game, maybe 8 to 10 minutes, which is like, yeah, we want him to do well, but it's kind of like, if we're worrying about Embiid not being on the court, they don't have a chance at all. So it's more important that Embiid is healthy. I'll take the first seed without a healthy Embiid, or the second or third seed with a fully healthy Embiid. I'll take the latter every time. So his health is most important. And what happens is people are like, they should be tougher. I don't know what world we're living on, but run a marathon, run a 5K on Saturday, and then go run a 5K on Sunday. And I guarantee you, 9 out of 10 times, your time is going to be worse on Sunday than it was the day before. But it's the same race, and these are pros, and It's just, they're just tired. It's normal, especially when you're, this game in New Orleans is at 8:00 Central Time. Then they finish that game. They do their stupid interviews. Get on the team bus, get on the plane, fly, land at 2 a.m. in Oklahoma City, check into their hotel, they're 3 o'clock. They're just tired. They don't have their normal ice routine and pools and all that stuff. This is why teams are usually favored on the road. But anyway, we got those Monday at Dallas. That's a tough game. They're playing well. I think they're like, I heard Kevin O'Connor on the Ringer show say they've got the third best record in the league for the last 2 months since the beginning of February.
And
Dallas
it's a revenge game.
Dallas is tough.
We smoked them here.
Yeah, and Simmons went to town on what's his name, Luka.
Yeah, Doncic. I love Doncic.
I love his mom too. Next Wednesday, big matchup. I will be in attendance at home versus Brooklyn. Yeah,
making your return to the Wells Fargo Center.
versus Brooklyn.
Yes,
you know it.
Love it.
Then the Clippers come in on Friday. Golden State comes in on Monday. The following Wednesday, Phoenix comes in. Then they go for a 2-game set in Milwaukee. That's a kill. Those are the 12 games over the next 17 days. Not a lot of rest in between.
And you got Milwaukee for those 2 at the end. Wow.
2, yeah.
That's tough.
And then then it kind of lightens up. They host OKC. They host Atlanta for 2. And Atlanta is like the Arizona Cardinals or the Florida Marlins here, Miami Marlins. Atlanta, they're going to lose one of those games.
Is Milwaukee a back-to-back? Or
no, it's like a 2-game series thing.
Well, it's a 2 game. All right, so you play them like on a Friday and play them again Sunday.
Yeah, Thursday, Saturday.
That's good because I was gonna say, man, like that's a tough decision if that's a back-to-back in Milwaukee. Like, which game do you play Embiid in? Do you try to trust your other players that they're going to win game 1 and then you can play Embiid in game 2 for the sweep of the 2-game set? Do you start them in game 1 and then you lose game 1 and then you're kind of like, well, we need you in game 2?
They got that. That's a normal. What hockey's
fine.
done too, the 2-game series thing.
Yeah, that's cool though.
That's a murderer's row. That's the next. I'm saying 12 games. It might be 10 games. That your number one seed, I think we'll know by Saturday, April 24th. 2 weeks from Saturday, we'll have a better picture of where they are. If they're right there, I think that it's there for the taking. But the main thing is Embiid being healthy. George Hill, we traded for him.
When's he debuting?
No clue. The other day before the game, I think it was Sunday.
He actually showed up at the arena.
Well, Doc was like, "Yeah, we'll hope to get him in." I don't have the timetable. I don't know. The guy. I think the day before we traded for him, he got a cast off of his shooting hand. He broke his thumb. He hasn't played since January 24th. He will be
good for his old legs, though, man. He's what, 35?
Yeah, but now he's got to get into shape.
Yeah, I got you.
Okay, so he's not hurt, but now he's got to get into the shape and then get new teammates and everything like that. I think, hopefully we have him. They say like by the beginning of May, and then by then there are only 10 games left. So
now I need you to fill me in on Ben Simmons. What's been going on over this last month, man, since the All-Star game?
I don't know,
my man gets a fresh haircut. He has to miss it because the barber, he had COVID. So he was out, and then Embiid the second game, back from the All-Star break, and he winds up getting hurt. And is this been, because Embiid's been out? Because there's been times where, what was it? The Utah game or the Denver game? 42 points.
Yeah.
It's in him. I'm not saying, taking jump shots and whatnot, but he does have the ability to where he can take the game over on both sides of the court. But it just seems like, 2 for 11, 2 for 6. Why are you only making 2 shots when you don't even take shots?
Right.
Everything.
All his shots are at the rim.
Right.
It's layups and dunks. And I mean, honestly, what I would say, and this isn't not an excuse. I think it's a reason. I think his knee's just really bothering him more than he's saying. He probably play through it. It's probably not going to severely hamper him. But it's just...
Is it the knee that he hurt last year?
I don't know. Actually, I should know that. I don't know.
He hurt himself in the bubble, right?
Yeah.
I think that was his left knee.
I don't recall. I think it is the same thing. And what it could be is I purely hypothetical. I have no idea. But for a player like him who doesn't shoot because he won't shoot, his game is all about breaking down the other guy, getting the first step, being quicker than him. For the bigger guys and the smaller guys, it's trying to overpower them. But if that just hinders him just a tiny little bit, and it slows him down that way. I mean, you see him when he gets a rebound and just goes coast to coast and dunks. You're like, why can't you do that all the time? Well, because in the half court, when defenses are a little bit tighter, and he doesn't have the burst to beat him. I'm making that up. I don't know. The other day, I think it was Sunday, maybe it was last week. I don't recall. But I mean, sometimes when you read quotes from these players, it's just it reads like Russell Wilson is saying, and it's all robotic and it's just all cliches. But he was like, I don't know, I got to figure my shit out. And he said it like that, sort of not like, I don't know, I got to figure my shit out. I'll figure it out. Not dismissive. I got to get this thing right. So I feel like he recognizes. I mean, how can you not recognize? I don't know. Hey, there's a breakdown. First 13 games of the year, he was like this. The next 15 games of the year, no doubt about it, all-star, cornerstone of a team. The Rockets are stupid for not trading for him. He's the man. He's awesome. And then the last 13 games since the all-star break, 12 games, whatever it's been, he's gone back. So, hey, maybe he comes back for the final 20 games and leads right into the playoffs. I don't know. We'll have to see. As long as they just pick up these wins. The good thing is Tobias has stepped up. Danny Green.
I was just about to ask you about him.
Stepped up.
How Tobias has been playing, because I really haven't heard much from him or about him since when he had that performance against the LOL Knicks. And he yelled that he was an all-star because Julius Randle was on the court with him. Yeah. So I really haven't heard much from him since that moment. So it's you're the one, you watch all the games, and I'm right there with you, like with the Flyers and now with the Phillies. So, the Sixers are now third on the pecking order as far as like my.
We like stay away. We don't need your black hat stuff on against the squad. He did not have a good game the other night, but he played great defense.
Did anybody have a good game the other night? I mean,
no, I'm talking about against the. I guess I'm talking about the Celtics.
Okay,
it was like the fourth quarter. I didn't realize it. I remember him making a couple shots. I think he scored his 6th or 8th point in the fourth quarter. But their defense is great. Their team defense is great. They really can crank it up to another level. They work as a unit, and again, as long as they have Embiid in there, it was funny watching the game last night with my beautiful wife Abby on the couch. There was at least 5 things that I said, like a stat pulled up, or I watched a play, or something happened. 5 times I said something like, "Oh, look, his feet are moving," and zoom off, or Ala come in and say, "Well, Marcus Smart's feet were moving on that play," or that's a ridiculous statistic. They should be getting to the hoop more often, or something like that. And then the announcers came right back in, and she was looking at me like wow. But there was there's one play where Kemba had the ball. He's coming in. Those little guards always kill the Sixers. Kemba hasn't been the Kemba of old, but he comes in. And Embiid steps into the paint, and Kemba stops his drive, kind of stops, goes up to take a shot, realizes that's not what he wants to do, looks to pass it across the paint, if Embiid is on the near side, and someone on the other side taps it away, and they get a steal, and it comes the other way. Now, that's something where, Embiid, Defensive Player of the Year or great at defense, will never show up in the stats. But there's a big difference when Dwight Howard or any other centers on the court than Joel Embiid. Just the deference of him being there. The other teams just, I'm not even going to go. They stop their runs short. They look to pass it away. They don't look to challenge him at the rim. He really does change it for the Sixers and for the other team. And then you have all these other guys. Danny Green, who's made an all-defensive team. Ben Simmons, Defensive Player of the Year candidate. Matisse Thybulle, crazy stat. He's 12th in the league in steals and plays less than half of what a starter normally plays. Like he's just like it just blows you away. It's like a guy like your 4th outfielder leading the league in steals. You're like, how does he plays once every 3 games and he's leading? That's because when he gets on, he just steals all 3 bags and runs around. But hey, listen, the next 3 weeks, we're going to learn a lot about him. Hopefully our show at the end of April, the Sixers will still be in first place, and then we'll feel confident, talk about the playoffs. Maybe George Hill's here. Hopefully Ben takes it around. So we got some good vibes there. Good vibes are back. I can't wait to see this matchup a week from tonight in the center versus Brooklyn Nets. Harden is out. Durant comes back tonight.
He's coming back tonight, right?
And Harden's out. He'll be reevaluated in 10 days, which doesn't mean he's coming back. It means he's probably another week after that.
Talk about a slap on the wrist with Kevin Durant, too, after all those, the stuff with Michael Rappaport comes out. Yeah. And, he just gets the, we'll give you a $50,000 fine. But, pretty much like anything else, anybody else says something like that, their career is practically buried and over. But yeah, no, I used to be a huge fan of Kevin Durant, huge fan. When he when he left and went to Golden State, that practically did it for me, because at that point he wanted to adopt the role of becoming the villain, and it's like, dude, like, you're not supposed to be that guy. And then sometimes guys try too hard with that, like LeBron when he went to Miami, he tried too hard to become the villain. It's like, just let it naturally happen. You know that more than anybody.
Yeah. He talk about sensitive, man. It's real easy to get under his skin. Now he's a deadly basketball player.
Oh, no doubt.
And so, like, I want to get your thoughts on the Flyers. We don't need to spend a whole lot of time because it's not all good news. Maybe next time, maybe they go on a little bit of run here. Hopefully, I don't know. But man, like, the Nets are playing lights out since they got Harden, and Harden was too. Now Harden's hurt with a hamstring. We know from we know from our illustrious wide receiver core of the Philadelphia Eagles the last 2-3 years, specifically Deshaun Jackson and even our man Alshon. Like hamstrings, they go away permanently with a long rest. To say that James Harden's going to be reevaluated in 10 days. It's like when Embiid had this fall. He was going to be reevaluated in 2 weeks. You look at the schedule and you're like, well, then the following week they're on the road. He's not coming back for 3 weeks. He came back 3 weeks later. So the hamstring, that there was no permanent damage or a big tear in Embiid's knee says, okay, great. Well, there's no tear there. He comes back. Hamstrings, they don't just they rest. He needs 2 months. He doesn't need 2 weeks. So while the Nets are great, they're a great team. They're definitely the favorite. They've got 2 MVPs on their team right there, in Harden and Kevin Durant. That's why you play the games, and you get in the playoffs, and anything can happen. And I don't want anyone to get hurt, but Kawhi won that series. Because Clay and Durant got hurt. And if they were healthy, we think that the game would have, the series would have gone another way. The Raptors are the champions. They should have been the champions. They survived the whole season. They went through the playoffs. They won. So you don't take anything away from them. But, the Nets, they're going to be their own worst enemy, and their age, something can happen. I don't want it to happen. But just like protecting Embiid, they're going to protect those guys too. So, while you don't want to see anyone get hurt, it's good news for the Sixers possibly getting that first seed. They're going to protect Embiid, but the Nets are going to protect Durant and Harden to make sure they're both as close to 100% as they can to the playoffs. Speaking of playoffs, are the Flyers going to make the playoffs here, Sack?
No.
Ooh, what a hit, man. So I watched the Flyers last night. So yesterday, Tuesday, April 6th, we had a triple header. Philly rivalry week. We had the Sixers Celtics, Sixers at Celtics. We had the LOL Mets at the Phillies, and then we had the Flyers hosting the Bruins, who had their number earlier in the season, but Flyers had a nice win. In OT a couple nights previously
on Monday night, but that didn't help because you were going in and you were 4 points behind the Bruins. So, and you had them back to back Monday and Tuesday. You had them in Boston on Monday night and then Philadelphia on Tuesday. So they won the game Monday night, but they allowed the Bruins to pick up a point in the process. So you only gained a point. So you got to within 3. So you needed to win the next night in regulation. And the Flyers got down 2-0 in the first period. And they had 25 shots on net, 2 goals in the second period. They were all over them. But then the third period, it was just
4 shots.
Yeah, it was like there was just no energy. It's like they shot their complete load in the second period, and they had nothing left at that point. And they wound up going down 3-2, and then they added an empty net goal. And now they're 5 points behind the Bruins. And the Bruins in the head-to-heads this year are what
5-1-1 or something?
5-1 against them. So which means we have one more game against them. So you can't tie them in points because they own the head-to-head tiebreaker. The Rangers have stormed all the way back. They've caught us now. So now us and the Rangers are fighting to catch the Bruins. And then the other teams that are ahead of us. I mean, Washington and the Islanders, they have 54 points apiece. The Pittsburgh Penguins have 50. And then Boston's got 46. And then there we are with the Rangers, both at 41 points. And, now you got to face the Islanders, and then you have the Sabres again. And, so there's 18 games left in the season. I mean, you have to go on a really good run. Now, the good thing with the schedule this year in hockey is if you get on a run for a week and you get 6 of 8 points or 7 of 8 points, if you do that, you put yourself back into the race. Does this team have it? I don't know. And I know the trade deadline is on Monday, the 12th. And, everyone's clamoring to add a piece on the blue line. And, I saw the run sheet, what you said. What's the problem? Same coaches, same players, You would think that they would build off of last year's success.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes with the players that you had, if they don't develop right over the course of the last year or during the course of the offseason, that's where you're going to take steps back. Philip Myers and Travis Sanheim, they've taken steps back. Provorov's game has taken a step back because they have not been able to pair him right with anybody. They put Gostisbehere on waivers last week, and he got through, and now he's playing minutes for them again, along with Sam Moran on the third pair. And then you look at offensively. Like offensively, James Ramirez got off to a hot start. The dude's been gone for like a month now. I can't find him now. Couturier was on a hot stretch there for a little while, but same thing. Like if you look statistically at our forwards and who's having a really strong season, I hate to say it because I know you're going to break my balls about it, but Claude Giroux.
Give me a break.
He's a point per game performer. He's top 5 in face-off win percentage. The guy has done everything that he needs to do. It's just these players behind him. I don't know. Like Kevin Hayes. When was the last time you heard him?
Hey, I'm going to listen. So, and I agree with some of your Ben Simmons take, but you've got a nice outsider's view about it and be like this 2 for 6. Don't tell me that Claude Giroux has done everything he can. He's the freaking captain of the team. He's the highest paid player on the team.
What do you want him to do?
I want him to do more. If he is the leader, he's the captain, the longest tenure. I'm not saying, well, he needs to win more faceoffs or he has to have more secondary assists. I don't know. He has to do more. He has to do more. He's their best, highest paid player. He's a top 5 flyer of all time. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it means he needs to win more faceoffs. He needs to be more aggressive. He needs to get in a fight. He needs to fight someone on his own team. He needs to yell at Carter Hart. I don't know what he has to do, but he is supposed to be the man. He's the Bryce Harper. He's the Joel Embiid. He's the, I guess, Jalen Hurts. He's the guy. He is the dude. He's the guy. The retiring his number. He's a Hall of Famer. He's a top 5 flyer of all time.
There's only so much trash you can throw on your back and carry.
I guess
there's only so much.
This team was the 4th seed last year. They've dropped all the way down to like the 10th seed. They were a good team. Niskanen is the only guy that's not here anymore. He is the lead. Listen,
they haven't built off of that though. Like
I hear what you're saying, but Carson Wentz, you throw a lot of interceptions, they're on you. And we can go the line and we can go this and the receivers. But listen, Carson Wentz, you had a bad year. It's on you. Joel Embiid goes for 30-13 in the playoffs last year, but he got swept from Boston. You had to do more, Joe. We needed more from you. It's like, and I could say he went for 30-13. What more do you want from him? Like, I don't know, but he's the man. If they're going to win, he needs to do more. And that's kind of how it is with Claude Giroux. Like these individual plays. Claude Giroux's highlight of the last 8 years. 8 years. That's for most guys. That's his career.
Please enlighten me.
A game-winning goal at Citizens Bank Park, where he's like this. That's it.
That's funny because it actually happened at Lincoln Financial Field.
Oh, Lincoln Financial Field, wherever it was.
And he's had plenty of highlights over the course of that run. Listen, man, you want people to step up, and just because you could put Steve Yzerman in his prime on his team right now. You could put Joe Sakic. You could put Sidney Crosby on this team in his prime, and I hate saying that because it's sacrilegious, damn it. But I'm just saying.
Oh, that's it. That should be a hashtag for the shows here.
Mark
sacrilegious.
Messier.
Sacrilegious, right? A sack attack, sacrilegious. Listen, man. That's what we're gonna do. It's sacrilegious hashtag.
The C only means so much in hockey because listen, with Claude Giroux and everyone wants to, not everyone, just practically you with the whole C thing. If Giroux never wore the C and he had the type of career that he's had. You wouldn't even sit there and blink an eye at putting any more criticism towards him because he didn't wear the C. Everybody wants to put the pressure on the guy that's wearing the C. Just because he wears it doesn't mean that he's able to drag trash bags into the playoffs. It's just not possible.
I hear what you're saying, but he's
Kevin Hayes? He wears an A. Provorov's had a down year. He wears an A. Couturier. I have to listen to people all the time. Tear the C off of them. Tear the C off. You got these schmucks that call into these friggin' sports talk radio shows that say, take the C off and put it on a guy like Travis Konechny. What friggin' clown are you? Like, have you watched a game this year? Like, Travis Konechny hasn't done crap since the beginning of the season. The first 2 weeks.
This is the thing, though. As an outsider,
Actually, the first game of the season,
as
2 goals.
As an outsider looking into this, you've got idiot. You have who was the
idiot savants?
No, you got like Chuck not Chuck Fletcher. What's his name? Hackstall, idiot. He was an idiot. He doesn't know what he's doing. You have coaches coming in and out. I
think AV's a good coach.
Hold on. I'm not done. You have general managers that don't know what they're doing. They're in and out. Hextall comes in. He's Sam Hinkie. He's holding these guys down too long. They're losing. They're not bringing him up. They need to get ready quicker. He goes. No one knows who is the constant through all of this. The constant is Claude Giroux.
The constant greatness was Claude Giroux.
There is no greatness. There is no greatness.
This is greatness.
This is
the fact that this team has made the playoffs every other year is greatness.
Every other year?
Yeah. Because
oh my God.
You've seen what this team has become? We have been an embarrassment for the last decade.
Well, what I would expect
compared to what the standard has been for the Flyers organization up until the 2010 season, we have been an embarrassment because all we do right now is care about what Gritty does. Like, it is unbelievable.
That's true.
How much this team promotes this stupid ass mascot. Because, like, I like Gritty, whatever. He does some stupid outlandish crap. But it's every single time that there's a break on the ice, we have to break to Gritty's lounge area with his stupid ass couch. I don't care about Gritty and what he does. The performance on the ice is what matters. And you have, like, yes, when it's all said and done, and you look back on it, it's amazing that Claude Giroux will be top 5 in every major statistical category for this team when he hasn't played with what the other players have had the benefit of playing with. Lindros isn't even top 5 in most statistics. He had the benefit of playing with John LeClair and Michael Renberg and Rod Brindamore. He had great players, Eric Desjardins, that were around him, Bill Barber, Bobby Clark. They had Bernie Perrant behind them. They had back-to-back Stanley Cup champion teams.
God forbid if
Reggie Leach.
God forbid if people mention Claude Giroux in the same breath as those dudes.
And he should be.
Listen. You're like secondary assists are a thing. I'm sure we could separate them out, but like I know they count as real assists too. But the thing is like, listen, it's been the worst. It's been the worst period in Flyers history. It's the good news is next year's 2022, which means they'll be in the playoffs again. But then it's 2023, so even if they win a championship, they
have to win the cup in 2022. Right?
No. I'm just saying they make the playoffs in even number years and they miss it in odd number years. He's been the constant since 2013. As a captain, he's been here since 2009 was his first year.
There has not been one single player over his tenure as captain that has ever questioned his leadership. Not one single player.
That's it. But none
of them have questioned his leadership.
That's it. That's what people identify. That's like, well, maybe that's it. Maybe that's it because his leadership has led to nothing.
Bull.
It's led to nothing.
Bull. No.
What's it led to?
The fact that he hasn't had anything around him has led to nothing. Okay. Crosby doesn't win 3 cups without Malkin. Right?
I agree. I'm not denying that. I'm not denying.
Jonathan Taves does not win 3 cups without Patrick Kane.
Listen.
Right?
I'm not one of these people.
I know. Hold on.
Okay.
Listen. Okay. You want to sit here and you want to measure success, right? From a player. Okay. But you have to measure about the superstar talent that are around these other players. Duncan Keith, Brent Seabrook. Oh, Bourbon Diaz is breaking out. Yeah, you did this on purpose to me, you son of a bitch. But then you look on the other side, okay, and then you look at what Pittsburgh's had, Letang and Malkin and Crosby. These are top-notch players. These are players that are all going to get their numbers retired by these organizations, and Drew is going to. But his Robin over the years has been Voracek.
I hear you. I'm not saying that's. I'm not.
Simmons.
Those are all valid points. But when you say his leadership hasn't been questioned, it's not like they haven't won a championship. He's a stinky leader. It means they have a good team. This team was good. He is the leader of the team. the team is greatly underperforming, more so than the Sixers were last year.
So is that his fault?
I'm saying his leadership. His leadership has been the constant in the seesaw every other year. Oh, well, they get in and they lose in the first round. The next year they don't make the playoffs. Then they get in, they lose in the first round. Then they don't make the playoffs. Then they get in and they lose in the first.
We didn't foresee Carter Hart shit in the bed.
I hear you. But leadership is listen. What
is he supposed to do? Go to Carter Hart?
Rexy will be
back to a sports psychologist.
Rexy will be back soon. I'm not saying Carter Hart's struggles are his lack of Drew's lack of leadership. I'm just saying is when the team is greatly underperforming as to their expectations, and I'm not saying they need to win a championship. I'm not saying they need to make the conference finals. They are out of the playoffs right now, and they do this every other year, and nothing is
so much you can do. Diaz, like you just said, Embiid averaged 30 and 13 in that playoff series against the Celtics. Okay,
that's right.
And listen, I know your axis of evil. They want to go ahead and they want to break your balls all the time, and I see it on Twitter and whatnot. But they do it because they get a rise out of you.
No, they don't. No, they don't. Yes, I don't believe. No, they're idiots.
The thing is, though, is that Embiid could not elevate his game further. He could not do any more. There was nobody else that could have helped him do more. He didn't have Ben, and Tobias is what he is. They couldn't do more in that series. It's just like right now, things are falling apart. The wheels are falling off the wagon right now. We have 18 games to really get them back on, and hopefully we'll make a run and we'll get into the playoffs. But who the hell knows at this point? All I know is if you look at the numbers and you look at the stats, he's been doing everything that he could do.
I guess so. I guess we just have to rely on that leadership, and maybe they make the playoffs next year. I don't know. Well,
all right. I appreciate it, Rex.
I think this is a good spot to wrap it up for the night. I mean, we're not going to tomorrow. We've got Lido on Green Legion Radio, the big show Thursday night. We've also got the world champion paddleboarder out of Costa Rica or something like that.
What?
Quimby told me on the phone today. I said, okay. So I don't think we're going to be having a lot of hot Sixers and Flyers talk. I'm sure we'll hit the Phillies.
We got it off our chest tonight. And, but, hey, we got some Phillies talk in, and it's good prep for baseball brunch, Bud Light baseball brunch on Sunday. Make sure you guys tune in 11 to 12 on Sunday. And if you're not doing anything that day, come on down to the casino, New Philly Live Casino, right there at the sports complex. We'll be at Sports and Social, right in front of all the big TVs. Come on down and get some lunch and grab a couple beers, place a couple bets, and hang out with me and Murph. It's going to be a good day.
You heard it here. Sack and Diaz back for Green Legion Radio tomorrow night, Thursday. We'll start at 7 p.m. Eastern time, a special time for the guys in Costa Rica. Listen to us, Fox Sports The Gambler, Saturdays from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. We got to do something special here for the draft. I think we're going to have some sort of draft special. But our trips are up. We're doing a trip to Boston and Fenway. We have great packages for that. Check it out at greenlegion.com. Thank you to Bud Light and all of our sponsors. Let's go Phils, go Sixers. Come on, Flyers. Let's get a playoff run in here. Sack, Diaz, good night. See y'all tomorrow. Peace.